don't even know what the screen looks like. I was actually getting ready to turn the video camera on, and the UPS guy was trying to come in the driveway and got stuck because I haven't moved the snow yet. This morning it's negative, currently it is negative, let's see here, negative 27. This morning at about 4 a.m. it was negative 36, I believe. So nice and chilly morning. We'll see how the 4066 holds up at this type of temperature. The winds here have been absolutely terrible, coming from the south and coming from the north. This is actually I think this is the 9th straight day I have moved snow, or at least no, I think I took one day off. You can see the UPS guy's tracks there. I think I took one day off moving snow only because it was too windy to even move snow. I wasn't about to get in the 1445 this morning at this temperature. The 1445 still has a good bit of summer gas in it, or summer diesel in it. It's got regular number 2, so I don't even want to go through that rigmarole of trying to get the 4066 done. And here it is. I got the blade turned around wrong. But last night, today it's Wednesday. I actually have the day off of work. I'm working from home, but I figured I would take the opportunity to do the driveway while I had the chance. These are some very, very packed drifts. We had some 20-25 mile an hour winds last night, caused kind of some whiteout conditions, various parts. One time we couldn't see our neighbor's house. Actually, several times we couldn't see our neighbor's house. So that tells you how bad it was. I think what I'm going to do before I haul off in here, I'm actually going to scoop some of this out. Normally I would use the blower to start this, but because the 1445 has the, like I've already said, I'm just going to use the bucket. It's going to take me a little bit longer, but in the end it'll be easier on me because I can sit here in a nice heated cab. Let's see how much snow. Where I'm at right now, to give you the amount of snow we have on the ground, if you go back and look at some of my mowing videos, you will know the driveway is about the driveway is a good 1.5 foot, 24 inches off of the ground level right here. So that tells you something about how much snow we have on the ground, which is pretty unusual for us. I mean, you can see the base of that tree right there. That's pretty, the two spruce trees, really. That'll kind of give you an idea of how much snow we have. And the nice thing is this snow is so windblown that the hydraulics are extremely cold this morning. The nice thing is the snow is so windblown that it can support the weight of a 5,000-pound tractor. So that's obviously good news. But yeah, to get the UPS guy out, I just kind of bladed out the space. He got his truck about, it was all the way in the driveway before he realized that maybe it was too deep. I did the same thing the other night coming home from work, got my truck about halfway in the driveway. I'm like, oh, I better go. Luckily it was in 4-wheel drive because the roads were pretty bad. So I just laid on the gas and let her go. But yeah, I have, in the last couple days I have recorded over, I want to say I've recorded over 6 hours of snow removal time. And there is no reason for me to put all of that on YouTube. And some of it's not very good video, some of it is. I'll let you be the judge of that. So realistically, I was saying probably a video that'll come out right before this one. I was saying that I won't have much video because I'm, got so much work to do. You're going to see a lot of snow removal videos. And if you get bored, I'm sorry. I'll try to tell some interesting stories. I'll voice over them or something. Actually, this works pretty good. I don't mind this. But I mean, you can just tell how much snow we've had. Looking across the field there, you can barely see the tops of the stubble from the corn that was there this year. That's certainly not normal. Normally, open areas like fields like that are windswept enough that the snow will pile up, around trees like ours and stuff like that. But speaking of trees, there's a story I can tell. Let me get your face back towards those trees. Trees out of the front of the windshield right there, the spruce trees. In 2011, this is way before we owned this property. In 2011, there was some straight line winds. Were some straight line winds that went through. That the front yard actually used to be significantly more treed, and the straight line winds that went through took out probably 80+% of the trees in the front yard next to the road. And so the previous owners actually planted those spruce trees. We get them as bare root trees from the conservation district. Here in the Midwest, a lot of times you'll have places called conservation districts. In this case, it's a county-run organization that are around to basically provide shelter belts, things like that. The shelter belts are designed to basically attract or stop snow. Really depends on their function. If any of you ever watch Ag PhD, the Hefty Brothers do a pretty good job. They have an episode explaining shelter belts, snow fences, or whatever you want to call them. They have a pretty good episode explaining those and how they work and why you would and would not want to put one in. But the trees that we have, we plant various types of spruces. It's always good to vary the spruces. We have Black Hills spruce, blue spruce. I think there's one other type of spruce. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look at our map. What we've done is we've kind of strategic. There's 3 lines of trees there. The 2 smallest lines we've planted since we bought this place in 2016. The previous owners were doing a pretty good job of planting trees back before we bought it. They actually decided to move to town. So they moved to town, and we bought this place when we moved up here. That's a little too far. Oops. Got a little too far off the driveway. Deathlock. So that tells you about how close I am to getting this thing stuck. I mean, obviously, having a front end loader really helps. But the trees, they're just something that we just kind of work on every year. This year, we've already ordered a total of, I think, 25 more spruce trees. Basically, our ultimate goal is to create an L on the, we're facing north right now. The tractor is facing north, the video camera is facing north, however you want to think of it. And eventually what we want to do is we want to create an L on the northwest side of the property, because that's where, as I've said in other videos, that's where a majority of our wind comes from. We think it's going to take about 15 years for those trees to get up and growing and everything. We've planted a lot of 1-gallon trees instead of bare roots. Where I was going with that story earlier is bare root trees are literally just that. They're bare roots. I had never heard of them until I moved to the Midwest. I had seen them growing up in the South, in pine plantations, stuff like that, where they grow pine trees. I had seen them, but I didn't know what they were called. And I'm not a forestry expert by any means. But how well those trees are holding snow this winter. I think you can. Maybe I'll take the camera down here in just a minute if I don't get the tractor stuck. The only nice thing about this type of snow is it is not very sticky. It is super dry. But here, let me back up just a minute and I'll tell you some more stories about the trees. So, you can see how the trees are holding the snow. And you can see as you look out there, kind of the tops of some of them. I think from right here you can see the tops of two of them. They're right there. I can't see how I'm pointing the camera, but hopefully in 5 or 6 years, those trees will be tall enough. They'll hold a significant amount of snow. And that drift that you always see in front of the house that I'm going to work on here in just a minute, that drift will have gone away or be much smaller than it is right now. That's the goal, at least. So we'll see if that actually holds true. I hope it does. The reason we don't have any trees as I back up here and go to push snow off to the east, the reason we don't have trees any farther than that fourth one right there off to the side, hopefully the camera picks up on all this, is all of that is very wet during the winter. And during the summer it's very wet. And I don't know if, I don't want to plant a bunch of spruce trees there, plus there's some farm tile lines going through there to drain the pond. The reason we have a pond on our place is our neighbors and the previous owners went together to build that pond. The pond is primarily on our property. But they went together to build that pond as a basically kind of a water management tool. Prior to building the pond, I've seen some pictures. Basically, this property out to the east right here was extremely wet. It just basically swamp. There used to be this tree line. If I back up a little bit more, see if I can actually back up here. Take you just back a little bit. So this tree line off to your right, that I'll be able to point to here in just a second, tractor. That tree line right there actually extended all the way over to the neighbor's place. And in the last 20 years, all of that got wet enough that those trees in the middle died from the water. And I guess it's just a runoff, change in rain patterns, stuff like that, climate change. And I'm not speaking climate change in terms of global warming, I'm just saying climate change in general. But all of those trees died. And basically, I don't know if I want to plant anything out there. I would love to plant something to protect the house from a northeast wind, because currently we do not have anything to protect the house from a northeast wind. It would be very nice if we did. Basically, I don't know if I can get anything to live out there. We've tried to plant some ponderosa pines. No, what did we try to plant out there? We tried to plant some ponderosa pines here by the driveway. What did we try to... We tried to plant something out there that loved water, and they all died. So, I don't know if that was just lack of care by us, we didn't know how to care for them, or what. I'm trying not to scrape up too much of the driveway here, because that's certainly no fun. But I mean, the trees are a work in progress on any property. So I've seen some comments on my other videos that hey, you should plant more trees, or you should get a shelter belt. Absolutely. If you look out, let's see here, and a lot of these things are things that I've never talked about on my videos. But if you look straight out there, past that, I guess just straight out there, you see those bushes. That's a line of lilac bushes. That's the bushes that we planted in April of 2017, May of 2017. First video I have of the hydraulic tiller on the X748 is where I'm tilling that up. And those are doing great. I think in a couple years that'll be a really nice lilac line that will do quite a bit to hold snow away from the house. You know, so that'll be really nice. It's a 90-foot long line, and if you basically, if you do the math right between the house and everything, it should stop snow about 50 feet shy of the house and keep it out that front garden. Now at the same time, this is something that I struggle with. I am not much of a gardener, but one plant that I really do like is peonies. And I didn't like them until we moved into this house. We have a line of peonies in our front garden that pretty much, as cold as it is right now, they require some type of insulation. Well, in this particular case, it's snow. We typically put a good amount of mulch over the top of them every year just to protect them. But it would be really nice if we got, you know, as long as there's a, you know, 24 inches of snow on top of them, I'd be pretty happy. It seems like a minor concern, but I don't know, it's just kind of something that I really like peonies for some reason. I like the way they smell and look. Plus they're a nice big fluffy green bush. Generally my philosophy on bushes is if it's less than a foot tall, it's a posy. If it's over a foot tall, it's a bush. And if it's more than about 10 feet tall, it's a tree. That tells you anything about how I think about bushes. I know it's gonna, anybody involved in horticulture is just gonna, that probably makes their skin crawl, but that's just the way I think of it. I'm putting all this snow off on the west side of the driveway, mostly for wind reasons. Hopefully, I mean, it's not, this is our third winter in this house, and I've never had to move snow like this on the driveway. And all of this is caused because of the continuous change in the wind directions. We should have, in the winter, we should have pretty much straight northwest winds, which is what we got yesterday. And, ooh, I just got a bunch of dirt. And, you know, we've had winds from the south, we've had winds from the straight east. I'm going to put this, since I picked up all that dirt, I'm actually going to put this snow up here in the driveway. That way I don't have to broom it out come springtime. We're really testing this fuel system in this tractor. I think I'm done talking about trees. If you have questions about our trees, feel free to ask. It was kind of being originally from Florida, moving up here to the upper Midwest. You know, it's one of those deals that I didn't know a lot of this about trees until I moved up here, and it's been certainly quite an education. And hopefully, we've done everything right. I at least hope we have, or at least kind of right. We've done it right to the extent that we think it's right. But I'm trying to think what I was going to talk about next. I keep track of where I'm at in the driveway, make sure I don't go off the side. I do have the Leon blade on the tractor, and once I get done moving snow like this, I'll go ahead and switch it around, switch the camera around. I can't remember what I was going to say now. I had another story I was going to tell you. It was one of those funny stories. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. So the other day I put out a video with me actually changing the batteries on my truck. And I figured I would elaborate more on why I hate doing maintenance on my own vehicles. So a couple years ago, it came to the point where I needed an oil change. I change my oil every 5,000 miles. I needed an oil change, and when it came time to do the oil change, my Ford couldn't get my truck in, and there was no time for me to wait because I was taking it on a trip, so I had to change my own oil. Well, long story short, if you've never read like a cartoon about, you know, how guys change their oil, we'll just say that it was a fantastic failure that involved me ultimately dropping the oil filter in the pan of oil and covering my entire one side of my face in engine oil. So bad to the point that I had to take 3 showers to get all of the oil out of my hair. If that tells you how bad it was. But that is one of the reasons that I do not change my own oil or do any of my own maintenance on my truck. Because the really funny thing is, I cannot tell you how many times I've changed oil, done this, done that, to all of the other machines that I own. I don't mind doing it. I mean, John Deere does nothing in terms of maintenance for me on any of my other machines, obviously. But yet, I do all that without a problem. Without a single problem. And, yeah, it's just funny. But the GoPro just beeped at me here, so, or at least a little light came on. I think I'm running out of battery, so let me turn it off. I'll change out the battery and I'll get some snow moved, and then I'll turn it around. And I got stuck again, so there we go. I'll turn it around and we'll work on the Leon blade some more. Alright, so the camera's fixing to die here, but before I change the battery out and everything, I wanted to show you I had to run to the store and get some number 1 diesel fuel, because if you can see in there, the fuel filter is getting kind of cloudy, so that tells me that the diesel in the tank is getting cloudy. So I'm going to add 5 gallons number 1 diesel fuel to the tank. This is treated, however it's number 2 treated, and I have a feeling that the minus 20 some odd degrees outside is not treated enough. So we'll throw some number 1 in there, some nice warm number 1, and that should get me through this until it warms up. Now I'll change the battery out and we'll get back to moving snow. Well, it's been a very interesting day. I said earlier that I was going to turn you around and we were going to do some blade work. Well, here it is, almost 6 hours later, and I haven't done much more than where I left you. Mostly because right after I turned the camera off, I noticed that the fuel filter bowl started to cloud up a little bit, and by the time I got back to the shop, it was like, it was pretty cloudy and everything, and I was like, all right, you know, we need to deal with this. So I went and got some number 1 diesel fuel and took it back out, and clearly I didn't catch it in time, and the fuel basically gelled up on me. So let it sit in the 20-degree shop. Back part of the shop was 20 degrees, and I came out just a little bit ago and noticed that the check on it and everything, and noticed that everything was much better. And so I think we are right now. I got the blade down, kind of cleaning up a little bit. So I think we're good to go. We'll see how it handles it. I got the RPMs up quite a bit. Try to get some of that heat generated and everything. So it's got about a 50-50 mixture, number 1, number 2 right now. So see how it goes. But I will turn you around here. I got a little bit of work to do on this part of the driveway. I'll turn you around once I start blading, and we'll look at that. I want to conserve the battery on the camera. Well, it didn't work. I didn't get to it soon enough, and we're just going to have to wait for the weather to get a little bit better. It's supposed to be in the positives here pretty soon. Right now the back of the shop is like 20 degrees, and it stays pretty close to that, unless just you get super cold. I think last night got down in about 10. Nope, just there's still wax forming up on the filter, and so it doesn't give me the power that I need, and then the machine throws a code to me after a little while, so I'm assuming it's just fuel starvation. So that's it for moving snow today. my own fault for not going ahead and putting number 1 diesel in it. Like I said, I treated the fuel, but a lot of the fuel that I have is from the summer, because I haven't used the machines this much until the last couple weeks, at which point, you know, I'm still trying to get rid of number 2 diesel that I've had all summer. Normally not, and plus, I mean, it's just been abnormally cold, so yeah, I mean, we'll get there. Like I said, it's supposed to warm up later this week. It'll thaw out by then. I'll get some more number 1 to put in it, and we should be good to go for the next cold snap coming here in about a week and a half, where it's supposed to get down to the low teens. Only problem is it's supposed to snow, or no, it's supposed to rain this coming Sunday, and then it's supposed to snow for 3 straight days after that. I am sure that will leave an absolute mess, because first off, rain in January is really weird, and then the fact that it's going to snow for 3 days and then get below 0, any of that rain will just leave a film on everything. So I've got quite a bit of work to do this coming week with the machine, moving snow, getting it everywhere I want it before it starts causing some serious problems. So, end of this video. Thanks for watching. I'll update you more on this as we move forward. This is just a quick addendum to the video. This is the diesel tank that I normally get diesel out of, and you can see it's clouded up in there. Not shocked about that. I mean, it is, you know, 20 degrees back here, and this is all straight number 2, non-treated. So I actually don't use this very much in the winter, mostly because I don't use a lot of diesel in the winter. In fact, I think we're down to less than 80 gallons in this tank. I think I've only used it once this winter. And that was to fill up the 1445, which I would not use in this cold of weather anyway, because the cab doesn't get warm enough. And in this weather, with the wind we had earlier, even an unheated cab is not safe, because you do have to take your hands out of your gloves to operate some things, stuff like that, steer the steering wheel. So it's pretty hard to do, at least in my opinion. But that's it. So thanks for watching.